Hey guys, welcome to Woke and Pretty. It's Meera and Min. We missed you.
We did. We did. Totally did.
Men, when I think about the holidays, I can't even.
Ugh.
First of
Ugh.
all, I was talking about this today. I love having a lot of people. I grew up with a lot of people. I think it's so festive. And my sister was saying the people that's coming over and they're staying over and opening presents. And it's just like how it was when we grew up. And I got sad because I do a traditional Christmas morning with my husband and my child. And then we go to my mom's house. And then we
Okay.
have a bigger Christmas there. And mainly because my husband wants us to have those moments with our child, right? We have the one kid.
I love
And I
that.
love
Yeah.
it. I cherish it. I totally
Mhm.
agree with it. But the appeal of having everybody all at once on the morning, like the Christmas Eve night, like hanging out, and then the mornings, and they used to stay over all the time before I had a kid. And then my husband would come home and we would do all these crazy fun things. And then we would wake up and do presents and he would go to
Mhm.
work because he had to work those times. But it made me sad. So it made me think about people cooking and getting family together. So my question for you, and I read this from the New York Post, guys. It is not the
Love the
most
New York Post.
reputable, it's not the most reputable newspaper out there for all of our international people, even though it has the word New York in it. It is like a trash newspaper in New York
Yeah.
that you pick up for 25 cents or a quarter.
And to give Canada people an idea, it's like the Toronto Sun.
I see, I wouldn't even know what the Toronto Sun is, but
It's the
anyway.
same as the New York Post.
Oh, really? So
Oh
in
yeah.
the New York Post, something that caught my attention, okay, is this grandma, as a grandma, the matriarch of the family usually hosts if they have the space, right? That's
Oh
how it
yeah.
traditionally is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So this grandma charges her family for coming over to dinner. I'm talking her sons, her daughters, the children, and they pay her in advance. They can pay her directly to her bank.
Oh my God, this is
Um,
hilarious. I
I
am
didn't
now
think people
reading the
did that.
article.
I
Exact
did not
word
think
in the
people did that.
article. The
You know what my
$200 fee includes a
No,
complete
girl, no,
meal.
that's somebody else. Girl, that's somebody else. I'm gonna get to
Oh,
that. I'm gonna get to that trifling one in a minute. I'm talking about
trifling.
that first link I sent you. Min hasn't read it. This woman's name is Carolyn Dudridge or something like that. She's in the UK. So if y'all in the UK, you probably read this, but she charges her three daughters $15.21 for a seat at her Christmas
Just a
feast this
seat?
year. She had to increase her prices because last year it was like $12 to $13. But she's saying it's not enough to cover the rising food costs. So she's in Cardiff. I know they think that Wales should be separate or whatnot, but it is technically United Kingdom. But anyway, she's saying she's buying bits and it's coming out to 30 or 40 pounds and all these things add up. And she's hosting and it's for the whole weekend. And if everybody pitches in, it covers the food costs and she gets to host. And she's a widow. Her husband died years ago and she started doing this. And my whole thing is, I totally understand the logic here, but I would hate to be like, I'm going to pay for my family to be at my mom's house. I would literally, if I had the money, pay for everybody or just give my mom money to buy groceries and call it a day. That's what I would do. But no, the girls, apparently her daughters pay less than the sons because the sons work full time and a lot of her daughters are taking care of children and they work part time. I think the kids, she charges like $3 a head or something like that. But yeah, and she also, just so you know, she packs food up and takes it to her parents after. But this is a thing. This is a thing. And I dug a little deeper into this. And the article that you were reading,
It's from the New York Times, or sorry, your New York Post, not the New York Times. Very
there's a
different. Very
woman
different.
there. No, it's the Post, but it is also in the United Kingdom. Apparently, she's the most hated woman in Britain or the UK. She made, so her last name is Bellucci, Carla Bellucci. So if you
Oh,
don't know who
yeah.
Carla Bellucci is, apparently she first made headlines in 2019 because she admitted to faking depression to get a nose job with taxpayer money. So in the UK, obviously it's public health care. So she had to fake and lie about what's going on with her so she can get a free nose job. So she's a model, quote unquote. She was on OnlyFans, all this stuff,
She
but
got
she
off
also
OnlyFans in 2012
she got
because it
off
was
because
too tacky. Sorry.
I'm
I
gonna
am
say girl probably
trying.
wasn't making
2022, claiming it was too tacky for her.
girl was not making that much money. If you look at her, her face now looks all right, like her body and all that. I don't know what she was doing on OnlyFans. She's whatever. She's not one in a million. She's like, whatever. She's not even girl next door. It is what it is. But in 2020, she bragged online that she spent over $10,000 on Botox and veneers instead of buying Christmas presents. So she basically spent money on herself. Ain't no shame in that game, but damn, your kids, man. You one present, yo? One? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, she puts herself out there for the criticism, but then she won't take people's criticism. So she, similar to what our old grandma that I just told you about, she is also charging people for coming over for Christmas. But girl is not charging grandma prices. Grandma prices was $12, $15. Girl's charging $200 a head.
Yeah, exact line in the article. The $200 fee goes towards a complete dinner starring turkey and 1 glass of champagne.
Mm-hmm.
Any additional alcohol consumed will be BYOB.
Mm-hmm. If
Also,
you read
I
the whole
know what
thing,
kind of champagne. Is it actual champagne or is it like just sparkling wine?
if you read the whole thing, man, I would tell you right now at the end, they got to be out by 10. At least grandma with her $12 or whatever, it was for the whole weekend and including the breakfast the next day. These people are staying over. So grandma was just trying to literally offset her costs being a widow, right? This woman, Bellucci, Carla Bellucci, she's trying to make money off of it. And she has no shame in that game. I'm trying to make profit. People are going to spend that money to go to a restaurant. Why can't they spend it at my house and have a good time? Girl, I hear you, but geez Louise, like this is not what Christmas is about. I asked my mom about this for point of reference. I said, Mom, what are you cooking this year? So if I tell you what Mama, I don't want to call her Hardin because she's not a Hardin. If I tell you what this woman is cooking, your jaw would drop. My little sister sent me a whole list, official menu of mom's Christmas, because my mom changes it all the time and adds things and talks about how she doesn't have time to do things, etc. The list goes on and on. And when I asked my mom, I said, hey, did you know that, let me tell you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different things my mom is making. 12 different things. That includes specialty beverages and things like that, and desserts. I said, Mom, I know it's really expensive, thinking about this article in mind. I did this today. I said, do you need money for groceries and stuff? And she goes, no, of course not. And I said, there's some people who are charging by the plate in England and Wales. And she said, wow, I bought 2 ducks and they were like $100 each duck. And then she started telling me the cost of everything that she purchased, which easily is clearly over $1,000 just for the materials to make these things that she's making. And I was like, so would you ever accept money from any of us for this? And she was like, Christmas is not about that. Christmas is not about the money. Anyone can come over and eat and have a good time. We grew up in a poor country. We had no money. You can go to the poorest house, which was ours. But every house you go to, they tried to spare no expense what they can afford. There was always something for them to give. And it was all about giving back and doing your best. It was not about a sit down dinner. It was not about, oh, how much food does this person have versus that person? It was about the merriment. And it was so different back then. It's very different now. We didn't even give presents back then. Now it's very commercialized because of TV. And I said, so what you're saying is you don't want money from us? And she did. She was like, no, that's ridiculous. But I bet if she was a widower and didn't have a job or retired on a set income, it would be different. But I don't think she would charge per head. I think she would just, similar to one of the stories that we talked about, men. Maybe you remember that chick that gave her parents money and then they ended up giving it to the brother or whatever, and what triggered us?
Yeah.
Yeah. How could we forget that story?
Listen,
I would just give my mom money. I give her money.
If my mom spent a lot of money, which sounds like your mom spent a lot of money on Christmas in preparation for Christmas dinner.
Always.
And to me, it's not about the fact that I'm giving her the money. It's more because I know she's on a fixed income. I don't want her to have that huge, ginormous expense when I can potentially bring in additional income. So I also don't have a mother who would charge people.
Same. I don't understand this.
I'm
going to say it to all you people who are going to hate on me. I don't have time for this white people shit. Yes, both ladies are blonde white ladies. I don't care. It's a little selfish, in my opinion. To be, you're the one who wants to host Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever dinner. Well, Carol and Carla are two different things. I think Carla, the most hated woman, is being selfish. I think Carol, the widow, I think her kids are being selfish. Yo, you see your mom trying to charge people per plate. You're charging your kid $3 per plate. Your family should not be paying your mom $50. Pony up and give her a couple $100s and be like, have a Merry Christmas. Let's do it. Even me, when I sent my grandma a card this year, I was like, okay, grandma, here's a picture of my kid and here's $100 or whatever it is I had at the time. My grandma's on a fixed income. She's not going to say no to the money. Is she going to ask for money? No. Does she need
No,
it? Probably not, but she ain't rich. She
of
going to
course.
take that money and do whatever she wants with it. Buy her. Most likely my grandma's going to go gamble with it. Let's be real. But that is not my problem. You got to take care of your people.
Yeah.
You got,
This should just listen.
she has sons and daughters. She shouldn't be like per head.
Not all
Per head.
people grew up the same way you and I did, Meera.
I know
Okay,
that,
to
but
give you
per
another
head,
idea,
per head, I'd
to
be
give
like, okay,
you
your
another
family
idea
owes me
though,
$50. I'd be like, your family owes me
I'm
$50.
with you, girl.
Like,
I'm with you. But to give you another idea though, like my ex-husband, whenever he goes home to visit family, his mother pays him for the expenses that he incurs to go home to visit family.
what do you mean by expenses he incurs? The plane
If he
ticket?
flies, if he flies into Montreal, she covers the plane ticket.
Okay.
If he Girl, my mom came to my wedding. I paid for her plane ticket. I paid for her where she stayed. I paid for her dress, and I paid for her makeup
Everything.
artist. I paid for everything.
Same girl, same.
Yeah.
Same
and
girl,
like,
same.
Actually,
Actually,
just to give you an idea, you and I grew up very differently than a lot of other people. You and I understand that our parents are on fixed incomes, and this is not something that they should have to be incurring.
yeah.
Some people grew up with silver spoons, and then their parents give them things so that their lives are easier, even though their parents are on fixed incomes.
Listen, I have one child. If I had the means to fly my kid back to see me, I would. I think about my little sister and I, we're 16 years apart. Girl, do you think she ever paid for a bus ticket to come home from college?
Of course not.
No, my mom gave her money, or my mom went 3 hours away, picked her ass up and brought her home. Ask me how many times my mom came to my college, which was also 3 hours away. Ask me how many times,
I'm
man.
gonna assume that was a big fat zero.
My mom came one time
Okay.
on the bus, was sick, stayed in my room. Then she came for graduation 4 years later. So twice.
It is, again, it is very different. Like, you're the middle child. I'm going to tell you, it's just very different for the baby. And you know this. It's very different for the baby.
We're also a lot of years apart. I'm not jealous. My mom is in a different place now than she was when I was going to college. She didn't have a car at the beginning. Then she did have a car. Now a car is like a non-negotiable for her. It was a very different circumstances. Money situation is different. Listen, I'm not begrudging her that. But what I'm saying is when you are a parent and you have the means, you're going to take care of your kid, even though they're a grown-ass adult. You're going to try.
Absolutely.
Conversely speaking, if your mom had a lot of money, man, if my mom had a lot of money, I think my mom would help me in ways that I don't even think that I need, because they can do so because they are your mother. It's not always like that for a lot of families. I just think we grew up in a very different situation where we are very giving to our immediate family and even to our neighbors that are our immediate neighbors. Like, it's just a different village mindset.
Yes.
As you will.
Yes.
Just today, I texted my brother-in-law, who grew up in the village that we grew up in, by the way. And I said, hey, is this person doing, when I was little, we didn't get presents. There was no such thing. This guy would dress up as Santa, get a truck, and literally go around to the neighborhoods and pass out gifts to the children. It wasn't wrapped or anything because he couldn't wrap it, but he would take his own money. Then as time went on, people started giving him money because obviously I didn't know any different. It was my only toy until my grandmother came and gave me my second toy. I remember that to this day. So I found out he still does this. And so I've been wanting to donate to him, but then pandemic happened. He couldn't do it. And I'm like, these poor children that aren't getting anything, because he literally takes this money, goes and buys it at retail and gives it out. Nice. Insane. That's really nice. That's really nice. Of course it is. It's a lot of his own money. So I was like, so I texted my brother-in-law. I'm like, is he doing it this year? Because I still have yet to donate because he hasn't done it. And I think about all these little kids that don't have, and I would give back in that way. It's always like my husband and I were talking, we try to donate at the end of the year, like most people do, but more for us. And we're always trying to give back to children. Anyway, I forget. I digress on this. But yeah, girl, that is the story there.
I guess we just have different mindsets about it, right? Not in sense you and I, people and how the world is. I think that if you grew up, I don't know, to me, it's about family first.
But family first to you, man, and to me, and to most cultures, not all cultures. American culture is not like this, I think. It's about the food. Food is the everything, I think. It cements your relationship. It's what you gather around. People always say you gather around the kitchen
Absolutely.
the most. I don't freaking cook. But when people come over, they are around my kitchen counter getting that cheese plate, honey. Let me tell you, that cheese plate is
See,
bomb.
so when
My
I go back
charcuterie
home,
game, my charcuterie game, or whatever. It's on point. It's on point.
It's on point. So when and you're right, food is very cultural for the both of us. I know when I go back home and my grandmother decides she's gonna have my aunts, my uncles, and the freaking neighborhood over because her grandchildren are home,
Of course.
are visiting. And I will also say, like, when she does this, I never expect her to go to the market and pay. I do expect her to go to the market because she will go to the market and get the stuff that she wants, but I never once expect her to pay for that meal that she's going to cook. And by that meal she's going to cook, all the women, the matriarchy of the family, will gather around and help her cook. She'll go and potentially spend her money initially, but I will reimburse her back for everything that she has spent at the market that day to make sure that she's not out. But again, this is a very different mindset, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody grew up in the same way that we did. If you were to go home now and your mom was still back home and she was doing this for you, you would be making sure.
I wouldn't give her money for food. I would just give her money point blank, period, because she's back home. It wouldn't matter. I don't care if I don't think she needs it. It would not matter if, oh, she's cooking for me, she's hosting me, look what they expect. I would come correct. That's how you are in a better situation. And my mom is going back to Trinidad in February. Luckily, most of her family's here. And my uncle who is there is very well off. So he don't care about her money. But I'm pretty
that it's different. Before we dive to even this, but do you think it's also different, the fact that girls and boys are just different in this mindset too? Because I will also say that 3 years ago, my mom wanted to get rid of her cell phone. And this was when my sister still lived about an hour and a half away from where she lived. And I was like, Mom, you really shouldn't get rid of your cell phone, because when you go to visit Catherine, she's up in the mountains. And if something happens on that road and you don't have a cell phone, now I'm going to be worried at the fact that your car's a little bit older, it breaks down, you can't get a hold of anybody. I'd rather it feel better if you had a cell phone. She was adamant on getting rid of her cell phone. And it's to just end that conversation. I literally was like, you know what, Mom, forget it. I'm not having this conversation with you. Go to the cell phone company, release your number. I will call my cell phone company. I'll take the cell phone onto my bill and I'll just pay for it, because it's cheap line, whatever.
It fixes the problem. Yes.
It fixes the problem. About 2 years later, she asked me for something. And anyways, I was talking to my brother about it. And that boy refused to pony up any money for her cell phone bill and was like, why are you doing that? He's like, you sound like a freaking idiot. And all I could think was, you know what, dude? That's the difference between you and I. You're the prodigal son and can do no wrong. You send her a $5 pot that her plant sits in, and you are the prodigal son who came home. I pay a cell phone bill that's $50 a month, and I am just the worst child in the world for her.
But you know why, though?
I do know why.
It's not because he's a bad person. You do know why. He's not a bad person.
No, I know exactly
why. He was enabled to be that way by her.
Yes, I know.
My mom literally said these words to me the other day. Okay, I know this was her angle years ago. My sisters and I called it out, but we didn't say nothing to her. We didn't say anything to her. This woman, I know she's probably listening at some point. Hopefully, I don't know if she listens to this episode. She literally said to me on the phone, if one of my children would just buy me a condo or something, it would be easier. I don't have to stay here. And I said, Ma, I don't got money like I used to. I just started working again. Remember, I had my own business. And she's, I'm not saying you, somebody. And I said, what about your son who's doing so well? His wife is bragging.
That would never happen.
Buying all the things. He does want to buy something, but he wants me to move to Florida to be there. I'm like, oh, is that so? If you move to Florida, would he buy you your retirement home? Go.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
And she changed the topic. Is that a real offer on their part or a passing conversation? That never happened. In her mind, they want her in Florida. Mm-hmm. And she thinks they will do that for her. Is my brother thinking about that? No. Ooh. What they would do is make her live with them, and she would never. Also, she's so attached to my son, she would never.
Of course.
She would never. Of
course. But you're right. It is a very different mentality, though, right?
My son I see it happening with the son-mother relationship, even though she's the grandmother. I don't have a daughter, but I have 6 nieces. To be fair, my mom is so transparent. We know she has a favorite. Axel, my son, is not part of that because he is automatically a favorite because he's the only boy. out of the 6 girls. We called her out. We, as in her daughters, called her out on her favorite. Not the one who has, my little sister and I called her out, and she did not deny it. She's, I don't have favorites. I love all my grandchildren. I said, but
my mom
yeah.
says the same crap.
I said, yeah, but this one is your favorite. We know it. And we kept pushing her, and then she started talking about all the qualities about this one person. And I was just like, we obviously know. It's okay. This woman, this one, I'm glad it's who it is. But at the same time, you could never let them know. But it's a daughter versus a son, right? So her grandson is here. I see her spoiling the shit out of my kid. And it's great. But I swear to you, man, it's like he is, when you have something beautiful at your house that you want to show off and you invite all your friends over. I think my kid is that to her. She literally brought a friend to my house a couple weeks ago for drinks and to see Axel. They bought presents. Why? Why are you bringing presents for my kid? No reason. So she literally brought her friend to my house an hour away from where she lives and where they both live to see Axel. And to be fair, Axel literally looked at this woman, went right to her, hugged her, wouldn't leave her, gave her all of, she doesn't have kids herself, gave her all of the attention that you could ever ask for from a child that you don't, and literally she felt so special.
Oh.
So what does my mom want to do now? Bring her again and another friend for his birthday.
Of course.
My child is not a showpiece for you.
You but this. Yeah.
He
listen,
laps it up. He laps that shit up like it's
the
milk.
running joke between my sister and I is that my brother is the favorite child because my sister and I both know it. And currently right now, my nephew is my mom's favorite grandchild. Should my brother have a baby, boy or girl, that baby will be my mother's favorite grandchild. Until, and if he has a girl, then my nephew might still be able to hold his place as her favorite grandchild. But should he have a boy, that baby will be spoiled rotten.
Yes.
Because my brother is the prodigal son.
Accurate.
And his first offspring, regardless of what it is, I truly believe regardless of what it is, will be her favorite grandchild. And they will get the sun, the moon, and the freaking stars.
I would co-sign it except for one thing. It depends on who his significant other is.
No.
Because
hold on. Number 2, my brother brings home girls. I shouldn't say girls anymore. He's brought home a very lovely woman before, but he would never marry a woman that my mother wasn't. He won't say this, and he can deny it.
Doesn't matter.
But he'll never marry a woman that my mother isn't utterly approval of.
Wait. Okay. I don't know who my mom's favorite child is except for my little sister, but before my little sister, who's 16 years younger, like I said, it was 4 of us.
Right.
I'm going to venture out to say it was my brother who's right after me. I'm going to venture out and say that. Okay. Because my sister was a jerk. I was middle child quiet. Then him. Handsome, sports, everyone likes him, that kind of personality.
The one who lives in Florida?
Yeah, but he was in Trinidad and stuff. And then my little brother, who obviously was the baby, so she loves him so much. One of the boys. My brother, who lives in Florida, has 3 girls. I said, she has 6 nieces. He has 3. My sister has 3. His wife and her, we talked about this before in another episode. My mom and her are best friends. They speak about, I think one time it was like 6 times a day. Then it went down to 4, and it's 4 to 6 times a day.
Okay.
Best of friends. So they had a kid first, a daughter, the first grandchild. Then my sister had her baby, maybe a year, 2 years later. And then they subsequently had 2 other girls, each a piece. So 3 girls each. For who is listening, her favorite grandchild is not from my brother.
But does she not approve of this woman?
They're best friends. They talk 6 times a day.
Interesting.
My whole point of bringing that up is your theory.
I just connected the dots.
I only got one sister-in-law.
It took me so long to connect those dots.
I only got one sister-in-law.
Dang.
So I'm just saying, even though she loves my brother, her and his wife are like the same person. She loves her grandkids. I'm just saying my theory / confirmed hypothesis is that her grandchild is not from my brother. That's all I'm saying.
I don't.
And then I swooped in and had the boy. So whatever.
there is a potential, like I said, there is a potential of my nephew holding that place should my brother not give my mom a son. But the minute that my brother gifts my mom a son and there is a potential for a legacy, game over.
Wow.
All this to say is that yes, when my brother has a child, if she is female, there's a chance that my nephew will still hold baby right. If it's a boy, there's no way. The boy will be definitely the legacy.
Also, no offense, I think of Axel. I'm like, there's not going to be any kids after him except for unless I decide to have another kid. And my sister has a lot. She's too young. So unless she gets married and have a kid, by the time she has kids, he's going to be like 7 or 8, most likely at the earliest. So at that point, any new baby's going to be the favorite, period, girl or boy. I'm going to tell you, my little sister is so in bed with my mom. This is her everything. She could have an alien baby and it would be my mom's favorite. And I don't blame her because I tell my little sister all the time, who does not listen to my podcast, I don't care. Come and watch your nephew now and be grateful he's little and he loves you so much because he treats her so amazing. And then he'll turn around 8 hours later and treat her like dirt. It's like the sister he never had. He's so obsessed with her, but that obsession turns mean. And then she like lives for it. She'll be an aunt and then she'll turn into like the annoying sister that'll like mess with him so he can get angry. Like they just have this.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's cute though.
Oh, you know,
it's because he doesn't have an older sibling to like.
That's exactly why. But you know why she does this shit? You know why she does this? Because I was a grown ass adult when she was a kid and I would do all kinds of stuff to her. And I was like, sorry, I'm your older sister. I know I'm a lot older, but you're welcome. You'll thank me one day. So now she does this shit to my kid. We used to play so many jokes on her and I was like in my 20s, this poor kid.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
You know what? Whatever. So I'm just saying it doesn't matter what she does. I was like, when you have a kid, it will be the favorite of mine, obviously. And Axel, I can babysit for free. So now I need your babysitting services for free, girl. Let's go. Anyways, we digress on this entire episode, but thank you for listening. I hope you can relate and resonate with some of the things here. This was a fun one, man.
This was a good one. I love these family dynamic ones that we have. I think we're tried.
You know what? I'm going to take a poll to see who listens to this podcast in my family. And if you do not listen, you are fair game for me to talk about. I will do this.
My sister will listen because she'll think it's funny. I'll send it to her and be like, you need to listen to this. And the whole time that she's listening to it, she will be nodding and then laughing, knowing exactly what I'm talking about.
I feel like she needs to listen to this particular episode.
Yeah, she does.
All right, guys. Hit us up on social media. I've been quiet lately, but that's all right. We're still there. We're still there. Yeah. And you can see so much content on there. We are on TikTok. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. And obviously, share this episode with someone who you know can relate to this. Because I would love to hear your comments. I would love for you to slide into our DMs. We're there. We're thirsty. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.